Hi, I'm Brittany Bowden. Coming up, I'll show you what I'm all about, taking you from the news desk to the Bahamas. And later, joining me on the dance floor, I'll introduce you to one BYU alumni who is breaking the mold. Coming up on the Daily News. Welcome to BYU's Daily News at 4:30. I'm Brittany Bowden. As of yet, only a handful of lawmakers have sought legal changes regarding whether a person lives or dies. Well, I certainly think that's true. I don't want to be in the water in Florida.
I think I want to stay out of the water.
Coming up on the Daily News, teen vandals face charges in Utah Supreme Court today. Find out who will be held accountable.
Miles, can you do that?
No.
That was pretty cool. All the way behind the head, then dunked it. That was cool.
Maybe a little past.
If you're thinking of heading up to the beaches in southern Florida to soak up the sun, you may want to rethink your plans. Hundreds of sharks. Vacationers want to come to a place they know will be safe and relaxing, but some Provo residents want to change that. After last year's tsunami, tourism chiefs in Thailand are pleading for vacationers to come back. I visited the Bahamas, and I'll tell you how they recover after natural disasters of their own. From the smallest vendors to luxury resorts, the message is the same. Don't send clothes, don't send food, just please come for a visit. When a natural disaster hits, residents of the Bahamas agree the best way to contribute is to book a vacation. Their first order of business after the hurricane: get the tourists back.
Everything back together, so everything is back to normal now, to the out islands. All the places are open back up. So everything is swinging back in swing. We want the tourists to come here now to get our island back, and we can't do without the tourists.
The same principle applies to areas hit by the tsunami. From the news coverage, it would appear that all of southern Thailand has been swept out to sea. The hundreds of restaurants, hotels, and shops survived and are up and running. The only problem is they're empty. Vacationers want to come to a place they know will be safe and relaxing, but after a natural disaster hits like a tsunami or even a hurricane, it's hard to get the tourists back. Since a tsunami, 90% of Thailand's hotels are back to business, but with only 20% occupancy. Business is bad after any natural disaster, whether it's a hurricane in the Bahamas or a tsunami in Thailand. It's usually the small vendors and the people that feel the loss. But are Americans confident enough to take a chance on Thailand?
If I were to go down to Thailand, I'd probably wait a couple months, years maybe. It just seems like it's not as safe to go right now.
I don't know. I think tsunami, I think floods, I think mud. I think people in mud up to their knees, you know.
People might be hesitant, but if you're looking for a quiet vacation, you might just have the beach to yourself. From the Bahamas, Brittany Bowden, Daily News. Rates for hotels and flights are usually much lower after a natural disaster, so an exotic vacation might fit into your budget. Some breakdancers say trends in hip-hop culture don't always fit in here in Utah. I got up close and personal to find out how one BYU alumni proves the stereotypes wrong. Internships, church, family, even a career, all things you might associate with the average BYU alumni. But breakdancing probably wouldn't top your list. But that's not the case for recent BYU grad Mike Easterling. He sees hip-hop in his future.
Some people play basketball, some people knit. I like to breakdance. Something that I can do on my own. Don't need any kind of music at all.
Hip-hop culture has drawn the attention of people across the nation, but it also carries harsh stereotypes. And some say Utah's conservative nature makes these even more extreme. Hip-hop doesn't have to be about being a gangster or even growing up in a bad part of town. It's about the music, and when you feel it, it shows in every step. Even the young kids Mike teaches know hip-hop tends to have a bad rap, but no, dancing is really about having fun.
You can just go out there and do all your moves and have fun with your friends. And it gets really fun the more you learn. A returned missionary, Victoria's Secret manager, radiologist, and yes, even an active Latter-day Saint, he says these stereotypes are simply untrue.
Everyone kind of carries this pre-notion that, you know, I'm a gangster, or that I'm into drugs, or whatever. You know, just kind of a bad black cloud that kind of hangs over you like that. But it's just nonsense. It's nonsense. That's all that is.
At the end of the month, Mike finishes his radiology hours at the hospital, but he says he won't be putting on the scrubs anytime soon because he's moving to LA, where he hopes his moves in hip-hop will get him to the tip-top. In Provo, Brittany Bowden, Daily News. If you want to learn how to breakdance or show off your moves, classes meet every Tuesday night in the BYU Wilkinson Center. Some students rake in the cash with summer jobs. We'll tell you how you can too. Welcome to BYU's Daily News at 4:30. I'm Brittany Bowden.
And I'm out.
Relief efforts are slow as recruiters pulled survivors and bodies out of the rubble in 2 Indonesian islands. Survivors of Monday night's 8.7 magnitude quake said they're going hungry. The government acknowledged today that it has been slow in delivering food and water to the victims. The death toll has been lowered to around 500, and new legislation in Sri Lanka could target religious missionaries and aid workers, including LDS missionaries. According to the bill, if someone is caught attempting conversation for a religion other than Buddhism, they could face up to 7 years in jail. Some religious groups plan to petition the United Nations in hopes of preventing passage of the bill. The Utah Supreme Court hears arguments over responsibility for damage when a Salt Lake High School student broke into a home in November. Attorneys for the students argue they should only be responsible for damage they cause individually, not as a group. Jury trial is on hold pending the Supreme Court's ruling. And Utah bankruptcies fell 5% this year, but that might change if a national bankruptcy law passes. The new law will make it harder for consumers to get rid of their debts, and new legislation will likely cause a spike in Utah filings. It's springtime, and that means recruiting for summer sales jobs are in full swing. Our sportsman Sean Bingham branches outside of athletics to tell us more about the craze that washes over BYU campus every April. The majority of summer sales jobs begin right after winter semester and last up until fall semester begins in September.
Tell you what though, if you don't want to get hit up by those guys, don't go anywhere near the Wilkinson Center.
Pest control and security seem to be their strengths.
Well,
And members of Congress propose a new oil conservation plan. Find out how it will affect you. And the mayor of Salt Lake City visits UVSC to teach about creating a better environment. Coming up on the Daily News. Members say they did observe a holy day but don't have plans for a mass exodus to the ranch. Best known for their practices in polygamy, FLDS church members lead quiet, secluded lives, shunning television, radio, and the internet. Some members of Congress say they believe the U.S. would use less oil and gasoline if there were more daylight savings time. As part of a new energy bill, a House committee approved the bill yesterday that adds 2 extra months to daylight savings time. Supporters of the bill say extending the time change from early March to late November could save 10,000 barrels of oil per day. Lawmakers hope to finish writing the energy bill next week so it can be sent to the House floor for a final vote. $66 million in flood disaster relief is one step closer to making its way to southern Utah. Senate committee added the money to the emergency appropriations bill, and the U.S. Senate could vote on it as early as next week. BYU gymnasts head to the Nationals, and we'll show you how they prepare.
Great.
Definitely. It's been nice, but I heard rumors in the newsroom that it's not going to last.
Please.
Jen Stagg is here with our weather forecast. Jen, what can we expect? Me neither. Let's enjoy the sun while it lasts.
Yeah, for sure.
And we'll tell you if this year's Tour de France will be Lance Armstrong's last ride. I believe it. I actually own one of those myself.
It's a wonderful story.
Just in case you haven't seen enough of pop princess Britney Spears and her newlywed husband, Kevin Federline, don't worry, because they're headed to your living room. The couple signed up to appear in a 6-part reality TV show chronicling the personal love story between Spears and Federline through their exclusive, never-before-seen private home videos they shot during their courtship, engagement, and wedding. The show is scheduled to air on UPN. We definitely see a lot of Britney Spears in media, don't we? Wow, so one more thing to add, I guess.
For sure.
That's your daily news for today, April 5th. And I'm Brittany Bowden. Have a great evening. Well, I hope you liked what you saw. If you did, you can contact me with the information on your screen. Rescue crews searched the desert for 7 days, but still no sign of Eric Sears. I visited the Sears home for a candlelight vigil. May faith, strength, and hope help you find your way home. These words from a neighbor alive outside the home of Eric Sears.
We all are here for one purpose, to share the hope that we know that Eric's coming back.
About 100 friends, neighbors, classmates, church, and family members pray together by candlelight for Eric's safe return.
I thoroughly believe in the power of prayer, even if it's one person or as many people as we had out today. It just increases that power. by that much, and I thoroughly believe that this is going to help.
Their well wishes began showing up at Eric's house just before sunset, lighting candles, comforting each other, and standing on faith that Eric will be home soon.
He's just like a really well-rounded guy, and everyone loves him because his personality is just so vibrant, and like he gets along with everybody.
17-year-old Eric Sears has been missing since Thursday. The Carlsbad High School senior went hiking with a friend at the Jumbo Rock area in Joshua Tree National Park, got separated from his friend Ben, and hasn't been seen since.
We hope that he comes back safely, and all the people that are going out there to help him or search for him, we hope that they come back safe too. So that's all we can do right now, but we hope it works.
The conditions in the area where Eric was last seen are brutal, more than 100 degrees, and he had little food or water. At this point, officially, Eric is simply a lost camper, but homicide investigators of the Riverside County Sheriff's Department were called on the scene, and a representative said witness accounts led them to believe foul play may have been involved in Eric's disappearance, but he would not elaborate. Still, Eric's best friend says his buddy will be home soon.
That's what we're hoping. We're staying positive. I'm sure he's a really positive guy. I mean, he's a survivor. He's been a Boy Scout. I think he's been to the area a couple times. He's been there before, so he knows what he's doing, I think.
In Carlsbad, San Diego, Brittany Bowden, KUSI News. Volunteers will continue to search for Eric throughout the day and most of the night. We'll bring you updates as they come available.